In a cluttered laboratory filled with blinking lights, tangled wires, and the smell of burnt coffee, Dr. Felix Carter stood before a door. Not just any door, but one he had designed himself, complete with hand-painted symbols and a giant brass doorknob that looked like a cat's paw. Felix was an eccentric physicist known more for his wild theories than his adherence to the scientific method. Today was supposed to be monumental, and his lab assistants, Jess and Leo, were skeptical but amused. "Are you sure this is going to work, Felix?" Jess asked, leaning against the wall, arms crossed, her brow raised in playful disbelief. "Of course it'll work." Felix replied, his hair a frizzy mess, eyes sparkling with excitement. "I've run the calculations 100 times. We're about to step into a parallel universe." Leo, the ever-cynical one, snorted. "And if it doesn't work, we'll have the most epic science fail on record. At least it'll make for a great YouTube video." Felix grinned, undeterred. "Come on. Where's your sense of adventure?" He dramatically flung open the door, and they all peered inside. Instead of an endless void or swirling colors, they were greeted by his office. "Well, his office in an alternate universe, whoa," Jess said, eyes wide. "Isn't that your boss?" Standing in Felix's office was a version of his boss, Mr. Harris, but here, he sported a bright pink suit and a mustache that looked like a caterpillar in distress. Felix had just opened the door to his career's most embarrassing moment. This Mr. Harris was firing him for wasting company resources on frivolous projects. Felix blinked, confusion swirling in his mind. "This isn't what I expected," he muttered, a bit deflated. Then, realizing the absurdity of it all, he burst out laughing. "Wait a second. I didn't even need to step through the door to get fired." Before he could catch his breath, the real Mr. Harris stomped into the room, glaring. "Felix! Get in here. You've gone too far this time." Felix stepped back through the door, laughing, only to find himself in yet another universe. This one looked more colorful, with trees sprouting cotton candy and a sky painted with swirling rainbows. He stood, mouth agape, as a cat wearing glasses approached him. "Welcome to Feline World," the cat said, adjusting its spectacles. "I'm Ms. Whiskers, your guide to this dimension." "Right," Felix chuckled, his earlier embarrassment fading. "Of course, I'd end up in a universe with talking cats. What's next? A universe where I'm a successful physicist?" Ms. Whiskers flicked her tail. "In this world, we cats rule. But fear not, we're very welcoming. Just avoid the dogs, well, let's say they haven't embraced enlightenment." With an air of whimsy, Felix followed Ms. Whiskers as she led him through a bustling city where cats held jobs, served coffee, and engaged in animated debates about the best napping spots. He felt an odd mix of amusement and bewilderment, watching a group of cats discuss the merits of tuna versus chicken as if it were a political summit. As the day turned to night, Ms. Whiskers took him to the local Dance of Destiny, where cats performed elaborate dances to tell their history. Felix couldn't help but laugh as he watched Benny, a particularly enthusiastic cat, dance wildly, twirling and leaping with abandon. "This is incredible," Felix exclaimed, clapping along. "But, what's the history behind the dance?" Benny stopped mid-twirl, panting. "Oh, it's a long tale of our ancestors' battle against the great vacuum cleaner. A saga of courage and resilience." Felix chuckled. "I'd like to hear more about that." As the night wore on, Felix began to realize that this whimsical world was merely the beginning. After dancing until his feet hurt, he bid farewell to his new feline friends and stepped through the portal again, eager to explore what other strange and wonderful dimensions awaited him. Each universe was more bizarre than the last. In one, people communicated through interpretive dance. Felix found himself desperately trying to mime his desire for a sandwich while everyone else was dramatically swaying and twirling. In another universe, he encountered a dystopian future where everything was made of recycled soda cans, and he had to negotiate with a gang of punk rock squirrels for safe passage through each experience. Felix jotted down notes and sketches in a battered notebook, his mind racing with the possibilities of multiverse theory. But as he traveled deeper, he began to notice strange patterns, the same shadowy figure appearing in various dimensions, lurking in the background, always watching. The sense of adventure began to morph into unease. Who was this figure, and what was their purpose? Felix knew he needed to dig deeper, to understand the fabric of these realities. One particularly chaotic universe dropped him into a bureaucratic nightmare, where everything operated under the strictest regulations. The citizens moved like clockwork, obeying nonsensical rules with a fervor that bewildered Felix. He tried to navigate through the line for coffee, but after misplacing a form, he found himself in a lengthy discussion about the importance of proper paper usage. Frustrated, he managed to slip away and stumbled upon a group of rebels huddled in a corner, plotting to overthrow their rigid government. They looked up at him, their eyes bright with hope and desperation. "Are you here to help us?" one of them, a grizzled man with wild hair, asked. Maybe?" Felix replied, scratching his head. "I just sort of fell in." "Perfect. We need someone with a fresh perspective." Felix's heart raced. He hadn't planned on becoming a revolutionary, but as he listened to their stories of oppression and control, he felt a spark ignite within him. "All right, I'm in," he declared, surprising himself. "What's the plan?" With that, Felix found himself at the center of a plot that took him across dimensions, gathering allies and understanding the true stakes of the multiverse. As he strategized with his newfound friends, a brooding antihero from a dystopian world and a cheerful inventor from a steam-powered reality, he discovered a shared mission: to confront the enigmatic figure manipulating events across the multiverse. But each universe brought its own challenges. Felix's attempts at camaraderie often led to hilarious misunderstandings, especially when they ended up in a realm where everyone spoke solely in puns. Felix felt like he was trying to hold a serious conversation while juggling watermelons. Impossible and messy. "Are we really going to fruit around while the multiverse is at stake?" he asked, exasperated. "Let us not worry," a punster replied, grinning. Through each bizarre adventure, the urgency of their mission grew clearer. The shadowy figure, known as the Gatekeeper, had been manipulating events across dimensions, ensuring that each universe remained under tight control. Felix learned that this person was a distorted version of himself, a version that had lost faith in exploration and creativity. Determined to confront the Gatekeeper, Felix rallied his team, and they crafted a plan. They would confront him in the heart of the bureaucratic universe, where the rules were the strictest, and absurdity reigned supreme. As they marched into the heart of the realm, Felix felt a mix of excitement and dread. They encountered the Gatekeeper, a tall figure draped in gray robes, with a clipboard in one hand and an air of authority that could curdle milk. His eyes glinted with a mix of recognition and contempt. "Felix Carter," the Gatekeeper said, voice dripping with condescension. "You've strayed far from the path. The multiverse is not a playground for the reckless." Felix stood tall, emboldened by the support of his friends. "And who says it can't be? Each universe is filled with potential, with creativity that needs to be unleashed." With that, chaos erupted. The rebels rallied around Felix, launching into a performance of interpretive dance while simultaneously throwing improvised projectiles made of recycled soda cans. It was a delightful, absurd melee that combined every lesson Felix had learned on his journey. Just when it seemed they were gaining ground, the gatekeeper transformed into a reflection of Felix's deepest fears, a version of himself who had settled for mediocrity, who had never dared to dream. "Look at what you could become," he sneered. "Isn't it easier to just follow the rules?" But Felix found his voice amidst the chaos. "I am not you. I refuse to be a prisoner of my own doubts." In that moment, he realized that the key to defeating the gatekeeper lay not in fighting back but in embracing the very essence of creativity and exploration that fueled his journey. With a rallying cry, he and his team combined their strengths, breaking down the walls of fear that had confined the multiverse. The gatekeeper faltered, and as Felix reached out, a bright light enveloped them. They watched as the barriers between dimensions began to dissolve, allowing for a free flow of ideas and creativity across realities. As the dust settled, Felix stood in awe of the vibrant new multiverse before him. The oppressive rules had shattered, replaced by a kaleidoscope of possibilities. "Together, we can create something beautiful," Felix said, looking at his friends, now allies in a greater mission. With a newfound sense of purpose, Felix stepped back through the door that had led him to this incredible adventure, ready to explore the unknown with an open heart and mind. In his lab, Felix reflected on the journey, realizing that life itself was a series of dimensions, each filled with the potential for joy, humor, and exploration. As he prepared to document his experiences, Felix couldn't help but chuckle at the thought of opening a multiverse travel agency. He could already see the slogans, "Adventure awaits in every dimension." And with that, he opened his notebook, the pages filled with notes, sketches, and doodles of dancing cats, hopeful rebels, and portals to the extraordinary. Felix sat at his cluttered desk, a jumbled array of notebooks and scientific paraphernalia surrounding him, each item a reminder of his wild journey through the multiverse. He felt a renewed sense of purpose and inspiration bubbling inside him, urging him to document everything he had learned. He flipped open his notebook and began to write, the words flowing as easily as the coffee that continuously fueled his late-night brainstorming sessions. "Multiverse exploration," he muttered to himself, tapping his pen against his chin. "What if I create a guidebook? Something that explains not just the science, but the fun and absurdity of it all?" He scribbled furiously, outlining chapters on cat politics, interpretive dance diplomacy, and the unspoken rules of time travel etiquette, like always keeping a backup sandwich, just in case. As Felix immersed himself in his writing, he could almost hear the echoes of laughter from his adventures. Each note he jotted down seemed to resurrect the characters he had met, the fierce rebels, the cats with their peculiar philosophies, and the vibrant landscapes of worlds that defied logic. It wasn't just science, it was a tapestry of experiences woven together by the thread of imagination. After hours of writing, Felix leaned back in his chair, stretching his arms above his head. The sun was beginning to set, casting warm rays through the lab's window. He glanced at the door, the intricate designs twinkling in the fading light, and felt a twinge of excitement. What if he stepped through again? What else was out there, waiting to be discovered? Grabbing his notebook and a small backpack filled with essentials, snacks, a portable charger, and, of course, a backup sandwich, he made his way to the door. Heart racing, he grasped the knob and twisted it open, ready to embrace whatever awaited him on the other side. He stepped through and found himself in a universe that smelled of popcorn and cotton candy. A carnival atmosphere surrounded him, with brightly colored tents, the sound of laughter, and music playing in the background. Children raced past him, their faces painted like animals, while adults cheered as they threw darts at balloons. "Welcome to Festopia," exclaimed a cheerful voice. Felix turned to see a tall man dressed as a clown, complete with oversized shoes and a bright red nose. "I'm Jester Jack. Care to join the festivities?" Felix grinned, the infectious joy of the carnival sweeping over him. "Absolutely. But I need to know, what's the history behind this place?" "Oh, it's a long and winding tale," Jester Jack began, leading Felix deeper into the fairgrounds. "Centuries ago, a group of lost souls found themselves here and decided to throw a party instead of wallowing in despair. They vowed that this would be a place where everyone could celebrate life. As they walked, Felix noticed the peculiar rules that governed this universe. People spun in circles while eating cotton candy, balancing acts unfolded in spontaneous performances, and laughter erupted from every corner. He found himself swept up in the merriment, forgetting the seriousness of his previous adventures. "Join me for a juggling act," Jester Jack offered, tossing colorful balls into the air. "It's all about letting go and enjoying the moment." Felix laughed, accepting the challenge. With a bit of practice and many dropped balls, he eventually found a rhythm, losing himself in the playful atmosphere. Each toss felt like a reminder that life didn't always need to be so serious. Later, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the festival, Felix sat with Jester Jack at a makeshift table. They shared a feast of popcorn and novelty treats, the kind of food that looked more like art than sustenance. "Tell me," Felix said, his curiosity piqued, "what's your favorite thing about this universe?" Jester Jack pondered for a moment, his painted face serious. "It's the freedom to be whoever you want to be. Here, everyone embraces their quirks. No judgment, just joy." Felix nodded, inspired. "You know, I've learned that every universe has its own rules and its own beauty. I've seen the importance of creativity and the necessity of breaking free from expectations." Just then, a loud horn blared, and the festival erupted into a grand parade. Felix and Jester Jack joined the throng of people, marching through the fairgrounds, dancing and celebrating. The energy was electric, and for a moment, Felix felt as if he were part of something larger than himself, a community built on laughter and acceptance. As the night wore on, Felix excused himself from the festivities, feeling the pull of exploration tugging at his heart again. "Thanks for the incredible time, Jester Jack. I need to keep moving, but I'll cherish this memory. Keep spreading joy wherever you go," Jester Jack called after him, throwing confetti in the air as Felix made his way back to the door. Once again, Felix stepped through, his mind buzzing with the experiences he had gathered. He felt a sense of responsibility to share not just the scientific aspects of the multiverse, but the heart and soul of each universe he encountered. Emerging into yet another dimension, Felix found himself in a world that looked both familiar and alien. The architecture resembled a mix of Gothic cathedrals and futuristic skyscrapers, bathed in neon lights that pulsed to the beat of the city's life. Hovercraft glided silently above him, and people moved with purpose, seemingly oblivious to the magic around them. "Welcome to Neo Victoria," a voice called, and Felix turned to see a woman dressed in a stunning gown made of shimmering fabric, her hair styled in an elaborate updo. "I'm Lady Seraphine. You look like someone in need of adventure." "Adventure sounds great. What's the story here?" Felix asked, his interest piqued. "In this city, we celebrate the fusion of technology and tradition," she explained, leading him through bustling streets. "But there are those who wish to keep the old ways alive at the expense of progress. We're at a crossroads, and the future hangs in the balance." Felix listened intently, absorbing the intricacies of the conflicts within this universe. As they navigated the crowded markets filled with hybrid goods, mechanical birds that sang and holographic portraits that danced, he began to understand the struggles of identity and innovation. Lady Seraphine introduced him to a group of rebels, artists, inventors, and dreamers, who were fighting against the oppressive forces that sought to stifle creativity in favor of rigid conformity. They shared their visions for a brighter future, filled with the promise of collaboration and expression. "Join us for our next performance," one of them suggested, a vibrant artist with paint splattered across her cheeks. "We aim to inspire the city to embrace change through art." Excitement surged within Felix. "Absolutely. I'd love to help however I can." As night fell, the rebels gathered in a central square, transforming the area into a dazzling display of color and sound. Felix joined them, helping set up an interactive installation that combined visual art with technology. They painted murals that glowed with light, inviting citizens to interact and engage with their environment. The performance was electrifying. Felix felt a rush of adrenaline as they created a spectacle that captured the attention of the entire city. People stopped to watch, mesmerized by the beauty unfolding before them. It was an exhilarating reminder of how art could transcend barriers and ignite change. As the night drew to a close, Felix stood among the rebels, breathless from the energy of the performance. Lady Seraphine approached him, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Thank you for believing in us and in the power of creativity. You've made a difference tonight." Felix smiled, feeling a profound connection to this universe and its people. "You've reminded me why I started this journey in the first place: to explore, to create, and to share." With a heart full of hope and inspiration, Felix knew he had to keep moving. He needed to carry this spirit of creativity with him as he continued to navigate the multiverse. "Until we meet again," he said, stepping back to the door that shimmered with possibility. "Keep fighting for your dreams." As he passed through, Felix found himself in a quieter universe, a serene realm filled with rolling hills and a sky that glowed with a soft, golden light. Here, nature flourished, and the air was filled with the gentle sounds of birdsong and rustling leaves. He wandered, appreciating the peaceful atmosphere, when he encountered a small village nestled among the hills. The villagers greeted him with warm smiles, their faces filled with kindness. It was a stark contrast to the chaos of the cities he had just left behind. "Welcome, traveler," an elderly woman said, her voice like honey. "Come, join us for tea and stories. We cherish sharing our history." Felix felt a wave of comfort wash over him. "I'd love that. I've seen so much lately, and I'm eager to hear about your lives here." As they sat in a garden surrounded by blooming flowers, the villagers shared tales of their ancestors, stories of resilience, harmony, and a deep connection to the land. They spoke of how they worked together to nurture their community, embracing both tradition and the beauty of the natural world. Listening to their stories, Felix felt a profound realization dawning on him: each universe had its unique wisdom and lessons to impart. The creativity he had encountered in the more chaotic dimensions was equally important to the peace and unity found here. As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the village, Felix reflected on the interconnectedness of all the universes he had visited. He understood that every dimension, regardless of its challenges or quirks, contributed to the rich tapestry of existence. "Thank you for sharing your stories," he said sincerely. "I've learned so much from each of you." The villagers smiled, their eyes twinkling with joy. "And we thank you for bringing new perspectives. Remember, the universe is vast and full of wonders. Keep exploring, dear traveler." Felix stood, his heart brimming with gratitude. "I will." There's so much left to discover, and I want to share these stories with everyone back home." As he made his way back to the door, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. He had become not just an explorer of the multiverse but a storyteller, a bridge connecting the experiences of countless lives across dimensions. With each step he took, Felix knew he was ready to face whatever awaited him next. He stepped through the door once more, the threshold shimmering with potential. What awaited him this time? Emerging into a starkly different world, Felix found himself in a dimly lit cavern filled with bioluminescent plants and glowing crystals. The air buzzed with energy, and strange, ethereal sounds echoed around him. He felt a sense of awe and wonder as he took in his surroundings. "Welcome to the luminous realm," a voice called out, startling Felix. He turned to see a figure emerging from the shadows, draped in flowing robes that seemed to shimmer with light. "I am Eldrin, a guide to those who seek enlightenment. I seek knowledge and adventure." Felix replied, his curiosity piqued. "What's the story of this place?" Eldrin smiled, gesturing for Felix to follow. "Here, we harness the energy of the universe to explore the mysteries of existence. But we must tread carefully, not all knowledge is meant to be wielded lightly." As they walked deeper into the cavern, Eldrin explained the delicate balance of power that governed their realm. "We have learned to connect with the energy that flows through all living things, but there are those who seek to exploit it for selfish purposes." Felix felt a pang of understanding. It's like every universe has its own struggle, isn't it? A fight between creation and destruction. "Precisely," Eldrin agreed. "But here, we strive to elevate our understanding and create harmony. Would you like to participate in our ritual of illumination?" Felix nodded eagerly, feeling a thrill of excitement. "Absolutely." The ritual took place in a vast chamber, where glowing crystals pulsed with energy in sync with the participants' movements. Felix joined the circle of luminescent figures, each person channeling their intentions into the dance. As they moved, the energy around them intensified, weaving together their hopes and dreams into a brilliant tapestry of light. In that moment, Felix felt an overwhelming sense of unity with everyone present. He realized that each universe he had visited was part of a larger whole, interconnected by the same threads of aspiration, creativity, and love. After the ritual, Eldrin approached Felix, a wise look in his eyes. "You have embraced the light within you. Remember, wherever you go, you carry this energy with you." With those words resonating in his heart, Felix bid farewell to Eldrin and the luminous beings, stepping back through the door once again. He emerged into a new universe, one that felt chaotic and lively. A bustling marketplace sprawled before him, vibrant colors and enticing aromas filling the air. Street vendors shouted, competing for attention, while performers entertained crowds with feats of daring and skill. Felix wandered through the marketplace, absorbing the sights and sounds. He marveled at the diversity of the goods, exotic fruits, intricate textiles, and curious gadgets that seemed to defy explanation. He stopped at a stall where an inventor was showcasing a device that could translate thoughts into music. "Would you like to give it a try?" the inventor asked, a gleam in his eye. "Definitely." Felix exclaimed, eager to experience yet another facet of this multiverse. As he donned the device, he focused on his thoughts and felt a wave of sound wash over him. Melodies swirled and danced, each note reflecting the emotions and ideas he had gathered throughout his journey. Laughter erupted from onlookers as they experienced the soundscapes he created. "This is amazing!" Felix shouted over the music. "What a brilliant way to connect people!" The inventor nodded, pride shining in his eyes. "It's all about expression. Each person has a unique story, and we can share them through sound." Felix spent hours exploring the marketplace, sharing stories and laughter with the diverse array of people he met. As dusk settled, he felt a bittersweet twinge. He knew it was time to move on, but the connections he had forged were meaningful and profound. "Thank you for this incredible experience," Felix called to the inventor as he prepared to leave. "You've shown me the power of creativity in communication." With a heart full of memories, he stepped back through the door, ready to embrace whatever awaited him next. The cycle of discovery and connection fueled his spirit, each universe a reminder of the beauty of diversity and the strength of community. Emerging once more, Felix found himself on the edge of a vast, serene ocean, the water shimmering under the moonlight. He breathed in the salty air, feeling a deep sense of peace wash over him. As he wandered along the shoreline, he spotted a group of people gathered around a bonfire, their laughter ringing out into the night. Drawn by the warmth and camaraderie, he approached, eager to join in. "Welcome, traveler," a man called, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "We're sharing stories by the fire. Care to contribute?" Felix felt a surge of joy. "I'd love to. I have plenty of tales from my travels." As he shared his adventures, of dancing cats, glowing crystals, and bustling marketplaces, the group listened intently, captivated by the absurdity and wonder of each universe. "We live in a world that can sometimes feel isolated," one woman said, her voice thoughtful. "But hearing your stories reminds us that there's so much more out there." "Exactly," Felix replied, his heart swelling. "Every universe has its own magic, and we're all part of something greater. Together, we can share our experiences and inspire one another." The night wore on, filled with laughter, storytelling, and the warmth of connection. Felix felt as if he were weaving a tapestry of lives, each thread a unique experience that added to the richness of the whole. As the fire dwindled, Felix realized that he had found a kindred spirit in this group. They shared a commitment to exploring life's mysteries and embracing the beauty of existence, no matter the universe. Eventually, the night deepened, and Felix knew it was time to continue his journey. With heartfelt farewells, he stepped back to the door that shimmered invitingly, ready to venture into the unknown once more. As he passed through, Felix emerged into a vast library filled with towering shelves of books. The air smelled of old paper and ink, and a warm glow illuminated the space. He felt a sense of reverence, surrounded by the accumulated knowledge of countless universes. "Welcome, seeker of knowledge," an elderly librarian said, appearing from behind a stack of books. "I am Keeper Althea. This is the Library of Dimensions, a sanctuary for those who wish to learn and share." Felix's eyes widened. "This is incredible. I've seen so many wonders, but a library that spans realities?" "Indeed," Althea replied, gesturing for him to follow. "Here, you can explore the stories of each universe, the lessons learned, and the creativity unleashed. Knowledge is meant to be shared." Felix wandered through the aisles, pulling books from the shelves, each one filled with tales of adventure, wisdom, and the spirit of exploration. He spent hours immersed in the pages, absorbing the stories of others who had traversed the multiverse before him. As he explored, he felt a profound sense of connection to all the beings he had met on his journey. Each story added a new layer to his understanding of life, creativity, and the power of community. Eventually, he approached Althea, his heart full. "I want to share my stories too. I've learned so much, and I believe they can inspire others." Althea smiled, her eyes twinkling. "Then you must write your own book. Share your journey, your experiences, and the lessons you've learned. The Library of Dimensions welcomes all voices." With renewed determination, Felix set to work, pouring his heart and soul into the pages. He wrote about the dancing cats, the vibrant festivals, and the wisdom of the villagers. He captured the essence of each universe, weaving them into a narrative that celebrated diversity, creativity, and connection. Days turned into nights as he wrote, the library enveloping him in its warm embrace. Finally, he completed the manuscript, feeling a profound sense of accomplishment. He approached Althea, manuscript in hand, heart racing with anticipation. "I've done it. I've captured my journey," he declared, pride swelling in his chest. Althea took the manuscript, her expression one of approval. "You've added your voice to the multiverse. Now it's time to share it with the world." With a sense of purpose, Felix stepped back through the door, ready to return home. He emerged in his lab, the familiar clutter surrounding him, but everything felt different now, alive with potential. As he set about publishing his book, he realized that this was just the beginning. He would share his journey with the world, inspiring others to explore, create, and embrace the unknown. He smiled at the door, now a symbol of endless possibilities. Felix understood that life itself was an adventure waiting to be lived, a journey through countless dimensions filled with stories yearning to be told. With a heart full of excitement, he took a deep breath, ready to embark on the next chapter of his life, one where he would inspire others to step through their own doors into the extraordinary. And as he prepared for his first reading, he thought to himself, adventure awaits in every dimension. And just like that, Felix knew that this was only the beginning. The multiverse was vast and full of wonders, and he couldn't wait to see what other incredible stories lay waiting beyond the door. He took one last look at the shimmering portal, a mischievous grin spreading across his face. "I'll be back," he said, knowing that the adventure would continue, and there were countless stories yet to unfold.